Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Easy English Podcast. I'm Hannah, and as always, I am here with my co-host and friend, Alex. Today, we have a very special episode for you. We are going to talk about a word that you probably use every single day, but you might not realize just how powerful it is. It is a true vocabulary superpower. That word is go.
Hey, Hannah. Hello, everyone. Yes, go is such a small word. It only has two letters, G-O, but it is incredibly important. Most English learners learn go on their very first day of studying English. They learn it as a verb of movement, like I go to school or let's go to the park. But today, we want to show you that go can do so much more. It is like a Swiss Army knife in the English language.
A Swiss Army knife. That is a great picture, Alex. A knife with many different tools inside. So, go is not just about moving your legs from point A to point B.
Exactly. Of course, physical movement is the first meaning. If I say, I need to go to the supermarket, I am physically moving my body to that place. But we also use go to talk about changes, about things making sounds, about time, and even about things matching or fitting together. It is everywhere.
Wow! I actually never thought about how many ways we use it. When I was learning English, I thought go just meant travel or walk. So, what is a common way we use go that is not about physically moving to a place?
Well, let's start with a very common one, talking about a change in state or a change in condition. We often use go followed by an adjective to show that something is changing, and usually it's a change that we might not want. For example, to go bad.
Oh, like food. If I leave milk on the kitchen table on a hot summer day, it will go bad. It means it becomes spoiled, and I cannot drink it anymore, right?
Precisely. The milk doesn't walk anywhere. It doesn't put on shoes and leave the house. It just changes from good to bad. So the milk went bad. Went is the past tense of go, which is another important thing to remember. Go, went, gone. So the milk has gone bad.
Ah, yes, go, went, gone. That is a good reminder. So we can say to go bad for food. Can we use it for people too? Like, can a person go bad?
Yes, actually. In movies, you might hear about a good guy who decides to become a criminal. People might say, he went bad. But we also use go with other adjectives for people, especially when talking about getting older or losing control. For example, to go bald.
Oh, to go bald means to lose your hair. My uncle went bald when he was only 30 years old. He has no hair on top of his head now.
That is a perfect example. He went bald. Another one is to go gray. This is when your hair changes color as you get older. My father started to go gray in his 40s. Again, it's a change of state. His hair changed from brown to gray.
That makes so much sense. So we have go bad for food, go bald for hair loss, and go gray for hair color. What about emotions? Can we go angry?
That is a super common mistake. We don't usually say go angry. For anger, we say get angry or become angry. But we do say go crazy or go mad.
Oh, go crazy. I hear that all the time in songs in movies. Like, the crowd went crazy when the singer walked onto the stage. It means they became very excited and loud, right?
Yes. Or if you have too much work and you are feeling extremely stressed, you might say, if I have to answer one more email, I am going to go crazy. It means you feel like you are losing your mind because of the stress.
I have definitely felt like I was going to go crazy on busy days. So we use go with adjectives to show a change. What is another superpower of the verb go?
Another great one is using go to talk about progress or how something is developing. For example, when you ask someone, how is your new job going? Or how did your exam go?
Oh, yes. I ask people this all the time. How did it go? It means, Was it successful? Was it good or bad?
Exactly. You are asking about the process and the result. If you had a job interview yesterday, I can ask you, Hannah, how did the interview go? And you can answer, it went really well, thank you. It means the interview was successful and positive.
By the way, if you are enjoying this conversation, taking a second to like this video or subscribe really helps our channel reach more learners around the world.
It truly does. And please leave any questions in the comments, as we read and answer every single one. Anyway, back to our topic of the verb go.
And if it was a disaster, I could say it went terribly. Hopefully that doesn't happen often, but it is a very natural way to answer.
It is. It sounds much more natural than saying, my interview was good or my interview was bad. Saying it went well makes you sound like a native speaker instantly.
I love that. It is so simple, but so effective. So how is it going is actually the same thing, right? We use it as a greeting.
Yes. How is it going or how's it going is just a friendly, casual way of saying, how is your life progressing right now? Or simply, how are you? The answer is usually, it's going well, thanks, or just good, thanks.
Okay, so we have go for movement, go for change, like go bald or go bad, and go for progress, like how did it go? What else can this magic verb do, Alex?
Well, it can also talk about sounds. We often use go when we want to describe the sound that an animal or an object makes, especially when we are talking to children or telling a dramatic story. For example, the dog goes woof, or the phone went beep.
Oh, that is so interesting. The dog goes woof. In my mind, I always think I have to say the dog makes a woof sound or the dog barks. But goes is so much easier.
Exactly. It is incredibly common in spoken English. If you are telling a story to a friend, you might say, and then suddenly the alarm went ring. Or even when describing a car, you could say the engine went whoosh and then it stopped.
It sounds very dramatic and alive when you say it like that. What about when people speak? Can we use go for saying things?
Yes, we absolutely do, especially in casual storytelling. People often use go instead of say. For example, so I told him the price and he goes, no way, that is too expensive.
Ah, I hear that all the time in movies. And then she goes, and then he goes. It just means she said and he said, right?
Precisely. It keeps the story moving fast. I went, are you serious? And she went, yes, I am. It is very informal, so you should not use it in a business report or a formal essay, but when you're chatting with friends, it is perfect.
That is a great tip. So we have movement, progress, sound, spoken words, and then we have change. Let's talk more about that change part because I find it a bit tricky. We mentioned going bad and going bald. Can you explain how go means change?
Sure. We use go to describe a change in state, usually a negative one or a natural change over time. Think of it as moving from one condition to a worse condition. A classic example is food. If you leave milk on the table on a hot day, what happens?
It smells terrible and you cannot drink it anymore. It becomes bad.
Right. In English, we say, the milk went bad, or this bread has gone moldy. We do not usually say the milk became bad. Went bad is the standard natural phrase.
Okay, so go bad is for food. What about people? You mentioned go bald earlier. My uncle does not have hair anymore, so he went bald.
Yes, that is a perfect example. He went bald in his 30s. We also use it for hair color. As people get older, their hair changes. They go gray or they go white.
Oh, go gray. That is so true. My mother always says, you children are making me go gray when we make too much noise.
Haha, that is a very common joke for parents. And it uses the verb perfectly. To go gray means your hair is turning gray because of age or stress.
What about emotions? Can we go angry?
Ah, good question, Hannah. No, we actually do not say go angry. For emotions, we usually use get. For example, get angry, get sad, or get excited. But there are a few exceptions where we use go for extreme states of mind,
Oh, really? Like what?
like go crazy or go mad. If something is extremely frustrating or exciting, you might say, I am going to go crazy, or the crowd went wild when the team scored a goal.
Aha! Go crazy and go wild. I know those phrases. They sound very natural. So we use get for most emotions, like get angry or get happy. But we use go for extreme ones, like go crazy, go mad, or go wild.
Yes, you got it. Another common one is go blind or go deaf. These describe a physical change where someone loses their sight or hearing. For example, the old dog went blind, but he can still smell things very well.
That makes sense. It is a transition from one state to another. What about plans or situations? Can a situation go a certain way?
Absolutely. This is where we use phrases like go wrong. If you plan a nice picnic, but then it starts raining heavily, you can say, our plans went wrong. It means things did not happen the way you wanted them to.
Oh, go wrong. I use that one quite a bit. Everything is going wrong today. It is such a useful phrase when you are having a difficult day.
It really is. And the opposite is go right, though we use go wrong much more often. You might hear someone say, finally, something went right today.
That is a relief when that happens. So we have go bad for food, go gray or go bald for appearance, go crazy for extreme emotions, and go wrong for situations.
Perfect. You have mastered the change category of go. There's another really cool way we use go when we talk about colors, specifically when someone's face changes color because they are embarrassed or angry.
Oh, like go red?
Yes, go red or go red in the face. If I have to speak in front of a huge crowd, I get nervous and my face goes red. Or if someone gets very sick, they might go pale or even go green if they feel like throwing up.
Wow, go green for feeling sick. That is very visual. I can almost picture it. It is amazing how much we can say with just this one little verb.
It really is. Go is like a Swiss Army knife in English. It has a tool for almost every situation. Let's look at another very common daily structure. Go followed by an ing verb.
Ah, yes, I hear this one all the time. People say things like go shopping or go swimming. Is it always for activities?
Exactly. We use go followed by an ing verb for free time activities, sports, and hobbies. Usually, these are activities that involve moving from one place to another. So you go running in the park, go hiking in the mountains, or go camping in the forest.
That makes so much sense because you are physically traveling to do them. What about go fishing or go dancing?
Yes, both of those fit perfectly. You go fishing at a lake and you go dancing at a club. Let me give you a quick tip though. We do not use this structure for team sports with a ball. For those, we use play. So you play football or play basketball, but you go running and you go skiing.
Got it. So I play tennis, but I go jogging. Let me try an example. Every Saturday morning, my sister and I go shopping at the local market. Is that correct?
Perfect. Go shopping is probably the most common one of all. And you can also use it in the past tense, of course. Yesterday, we went sightseeing in the city center. Went is just the past of go, but the pattern stays exactly the same. Went plus ing.
That is a great reminder. Now, I want to ask you about something different. Sometimes I hear people say things like, does this hat go with my coat? Or these shoes do not go. What does go mean there?
Ah, you're talking about go meaning to match or look good together. This is incredibly common when we talk about fashion, colors, and even food. If two things go, it means they complement each other. They look nice or taste nice together.
Oh, so like red wine goes well with steak.
Beautiful example. Yes, red wine and steak are a great combination, so they go well together. Or in fashion, you could say, that blue shirt goes perfectly with your jeans. If they don't look good together, you just say they don't go. For example, I don't think green socks go with those purple shoes.
No, green socks and purple shoes definitely do not go. That sounds like a fashion disaster. So, go with or go together means to match? What about things making sounds? I often hear children's books say, the cow goes moo.
Yes, we use go to describe the sounds that animals or objects make. It is a very friendly, casual way of saying produces the sound. So, the clock goes tick-tock, the car horn goes beep, or the dog goes woof.
That is so cute. I guess adults use it too, right? Like, my phone went buzz in the middle of the meeting.
Absolutely. My phone kept going beep beep all night is a very natural sentence. It just means the phone was making that sound. We even use it for sudden noises. Suddenly, the balloon went pop.
Oh, went pop. I love how active that sounds. It makes the story feel much more alive than just saying the balloon burst.
It really does. It paints a picture. And speaking of things making sounds and working, we also use go to talk about how machines or systems function. For example, if your computer is working properly, you can say, my computer is going well, or I need to get my car going.
Wait, get my car going means to start the engine?
Yes, exactly. To get something going means to make it start working or operating. If your watch stops ticking, you might tap it and say, come on, get going. Or if a factory is fully operating, we say the machines are going now.
Ah, that is so useful. Get going can mean starting a machine, but wait, don't we also say, I need to get going when we want to leave a place? Like, it's late, I should get going.
Yes, you are 100% correct, Hannah. That is one of the most common everyday expressions. I need to get going just means I need to leave now or I need to start traveling home. It is a very polite and natural way to say goodbye to friends at a party. You can say, well guys, it's getting dark, I'd better get going.
I love that. It sounds much softer than just saying, I am leaving now. But now, Alex, I want to ask you about something that always confuses me and many English learners. Phrasal verbs with go. There are so many of them.
Oh yes, phrasal verbs can feel like a mountain to climb, but once you break them down with simple examples, they become much easier. Let's start with a really common one, go over. Have you heard that one before?
I have. My teacher used to say, let's go over the homework. Does it mean to look at something again?
Exactly. To go over something means to examine, check, or review it carefully. Think of it like walking over a bridge to look at everything underneath. For example, before an exam, you might say, I need to go over my notes one more time. Or at work, your boss might say, let's go over the plan for next week.
Ah, so go over is like checking the details. I need to go over the contract before I sign it. Is that correct?
That is a perfect example, Hannah. Spot on. Now, what about go through? It sounds a bit similar, but it has a couple of different meanings. Have you used go through in your English conversations?
I know go through literally, like walking through a door. But does it have a figurative meaning too? Like experiencing something?
Yes, indeed. That is a very important one. When someone is experiencing a difficult time, a sad period, or a hard challenge in their life, we say they are going through it. For example, if a friend loses their job, you can say, he is going through a tough time right now.
Oh, that is very empathetic. She went through a lot of stress during her exams. It really shows that they lived through that difficult experience, right?
Precisely. It suggests movement from one side of a difficult situation to the other side. You enter the tunnel, you experience the dark, and then you come out. You go through it. But go through can also mean to search inside something like a bag or a drawer. For instance, I went through my pockets, but I couldn't find my keys.
Ah, so if I lose my passport, I might say, I need to go through all my drawers to find it. That makes total sense. It's like physically searching through a space. What about go off? I hear this one a lot, especially in the morning, and usually people sound angry when they say it.
Yes, because of alarms. When an alarm makes a loud noise to wake you up or warn you, we say the alarm goes off. So you could say, my alarm went off at 6 o'clock this morning and I hated it.
That is so funny, because off usually means stopping, like turning off a light. But when an alarm goes off, it actually starts making noise.
I know, English can be a bit crazy like that. But think of it as a sound exploding outward. In fact, we also use go off for fireworks or even bombs. The fireworks went off in the night sky. And there is one more everyday use for go off that is very useful for food. If milk or meat becomes bad, rotten, or sour, we say it has gone off.
Oh, really? So I can say, don't drink that milk, it has gone off.
Yes, it means the milk is no longer fresh or safe to drink. It's a very common phrase in British and Australian English, and people in the US understand it too, though they might sometimes say spoiled. But gone off is fantastic to know.
This is so interesting. We have covered go over for reviewing, go through for experiencing hard times or searching, and go off for alarms ringing or food spoiling. What about go along with?
Go along with is all about agreement. If you agree with an idea, a decision, or a plan that someone else suggests, you go along with it. For example, if you suggest we have pizza for dinner, and I say, sure, let's do that, I am going along with your suggestion.
So, I don't really agree with the new office rules, but I will go along with them to keep the peace.
That is an excellent, natural sentence, Hannah. It shows you understand the nuance perfectly. Sometimes you go along with something even if you are not 100% happy about it, just to cooperate.
Wow, we have really gone over a lot of different uses of the verb go today, Alex. From traveling to places, to sounds, to machines working, and all these amazing phrasal verbs.
We really have. It just shows how one tiny, simple word like go can carry so much meaning in everyday English. For our listeners out there, don't try to memorize all of these at once. Just choose one or two that you like, practice saying them today, and let them become natural to you.
That is great advice. Well, I think my brain is completely full of go now. It has been a wonderful conversation, Alex.
It certainly has, Hannah. And to all our wonderful listeners, thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the Easy English podcast. We hope this helps you feel more confident with your English. Keep practicing, have a beautiful week, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.